Before we start this episode, we're massively excited to tell you we've got sponsors, we've got supporters for each of our bonus episodes. What we set out to do when we were looking for sponsors to partner up with us on these episodes, these bonus episodes, was to find organisations and institutions that shared our ethics and principles, organisations that look to help and support young sports people. And we're delighted to announce that for this episode, we've managed to secure a partnership with ASM Advisory. ASM absolutely fit with our ethics and outlook perfectly. They are an accountancy firm on the South Coast with strong connections in sport and particularly in football. The firm offers guidance and advice to sportsmen and women at all levels, and they're passionate about proper budgeting in a short career that can see earnings fluctuate wildly amidst the massive uncertainty that a sporting career gives. We're proud to associate with ASM in this episode, and we have plans for partnering up with them with some later bonus episodes as well. Footballers making and losing vast amounts of money is an all too common and sad story in the game. We're working with ASM on some future episodes and some information which will tackle this important topic. You can find ASM on the web at asmadvisory.co.uk, and we're proud to be associated with them. Thank you to Emir and the team. Now over to us for Football Journeys. Hi. You're listening to Football Journeys, a B5 Consultancy podcast with me, Matt Himsworth, and my colleague Fraser.
Football Journeys is a podcast that ignores the glitz and the glamour of the beautiful game in favour of the pain, the graft and the rejection.
In Series 1, we met Liverpool FC's academy class of 2013-14. There were 10 impressive young men who lived the roller coaster through the famous academy at Kirkby and beyond, but ultimately missed out on their Anfield dream. If you haven't yet listened to that series, then we strongly recommend that you do.
From the boy wonder, dubbed the next Steven Gerrard, to the Spanish lads quickly adapting to English culture and football.
The player told at the age of 21 that he'd have to retire before a donation of a new knee gave him a new lease of life and 15 more years of playing.
And even the dramatic story of Darius Walden, who tragically spent time at Her Majesty's pleasure, but is now rebuilding his life.
After 10 episodes, we're moving on from this group of lads to tell more and varied stories.
We're going to finish off this series with a few bonus episodes that will take us in a completely different direction.
Our first bonus episode is with Ákos Onódi, a deeply impressive and thoughtful Hungarian goalkeeper who came to surprising and sudden prominence in January 2021 when coronavirus ran through the entire Aston Villa first team squad.
Ákos talks about his journey from Magyar, his philosophy of diversifying his interests in studying computers at a high level, his hopes for a lone and regular men's football, and of course, that Friday night at Villa Park.
So Ákos, see ya. Hopefully I've got that right. Hello Ákos, how are you?
Hi guys. Well, feeling very well, thank you. How are you?
Well, we're really, really good. And look, we've got some really exciting things to talk to you about. We're going to talk to you about a momentous occasion in your very, very young career. But we want to start way before, because actually, the point of our podcast, the point of Football Journeys is to talk about the journey. And of course, people like you and your teammates come into our focus when you end up on BT Sport or on Match of the Day playing against Liverpool's first team. But there's so much that goes in before that, and your journey, from what we already know, it is an incredible one. Let's go right back to your early days. So you were brought up in, and you need to correct me, I don't think I'll get wrong on this, but I think you were brought up in a city in Hungary called Győr, which is in the west of Hungary, and you come from a family that's got a real big sporting pedigree. I mean, your aunt Henrietta is not just a fantastic gymnast, but was an Olympic gold medalist.
Yes, that is a quite big rumour, which I've heard about myself as well. I've got to disappoint you guys because my aunt is not her. Well, our name is the same, but we haven't actually got like a family connection between us two. So she's not my aunt. Got to disappoint you.
Ways of Wikipedia.
Yeah, no, I heard that as well. I called my parents straight after. I was like, you heard about that? And they were just looking at each other like, well, we never heard about that one.
So, yeah. So Henrietta Onódi is a big name in Hungary. I mean, she won a gold medal in 1992. So, I mean, do you remember when you first found out that people were saying that you were related to her? Because that's quite a big thing.
Yeah, she caught me by surprise as well. But yeah, sorry, we're not related.
I'll tell you what, Ákos, the alarm bell should have been ringing when I saw that she's 4'9". And how tall are you?
I'm nearly 6'5".
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be a big difference if you were blood related. Okay. Well, look, this is the first achievement of today's pod is to correct your Wikipedia page. So we'll absolutely make sure that that's exactly what the result is. Well, in any event, talk to us a little bit about what little Ákos was like. How early did you come to football? What was your family's involvement in your early football career? And when did you think, hang on a minute, there's a career for me in football?
Yes, as a little boy, I was always dreaming about playing in the Premier League and representing my country as a fully international. But from early on, when we started practicing with my dad in the back garden, we had like a gate as you could entrance into the garden, in front of the house, and that was my little goal. That's what I had to defend, and we tried to copy the movements of the goalkeepers who were on the top at the time. But my all-time favorite is Iker Casillas. And when I was a little boy, I always wanted to be him.
Hungary in recent times has got quite a pedigree, particularly in England, of goalkeepers. And you say Casillas, I wonder whether you were going to pop up with the baggy pants of Gabor Kiraly, or obviously Peter Galaxy as well, the present goalkeeper.
Yes, absolutely. Kiraly Gabor was a big icon up until he retired from football, and now he's doing his own academy in Hungary, which is quite popular, I think. And he helps out a lot of goalkeepers. He's got his own brand as well. But yeah, obviously at the time, we were all looking at the goalkeepers who were on the top, and Gabor played for Premier League teams as well. He played for Aston Villa. He's got 4 appearances, I think, and for Crystal Palace as well. Had a good career. So yes, I always dreamed of having at least that big of a career than they have, and we always copied the movement of them. Like looked at them, how they catch in the ball, how their movements look like, and I was always tried to ask my parents to buy me football kits, same color, the same looking things as they got, so I could imagine myself as being them at the time. And it was quite a big coincidence that I got to the local academy in Eto in Győri, because we were at the barbers. So basically, the dad of my ex teammate at the time, we had a nice chat with him, because he know him from the barbers, and he said his son playing for the under-8s at the time. So I was an under-8 age, and he said I'm quite big as an 8-year-old, because I was always bigger than the other lads around me. And he asked us what position do I play, or like what position do I want to be, and we just went like, it's just like goalkeeping. I always want to be a goalkeeper. And I was like, oh yeah, our team's looking for a big goalkeeper. So he basically just gave us the number of the coach at the time for the team, and he said, just relay on me when you call him. And that's how I could go on trial for to be fair, I just can't recall how long was it, but I remember it was a Thursday at 6 o'clock when we first had to go to the training. It was a heavy rainy day. I hated it, but then it ended up being good, and then they signed me. And since I was 8, I was developing myself in the academy of Eto.
I'm glad you called them Eto, because obviously we in England, we won't be as familiar with the Hungarian teams, and they're listed on Wikipedia as Győri, which is obviously the town they're in, or city they're in, and Eto, which is the club name behind it. But I say this for our listeners, they won't be familiar with Győri. But they're a Hungarian second division team, but they've got quite a big pedigree. I think they won the Hungarian league 4 times, and they appeared in the European Cup semi-finals in 1965, which is obviously a long time ago, before even I was around. But that comes from a time when Hungary, well, I guess their star was starting to wane a little bit. But anyone that's a student of football will know that in the 1950s, the Hungarian team was one of the first, if not the first, really great team. They famously played England in, I think it's called the match of the century, where Ferenc Puskás turned up and absolutely turned England over 6-3 at Wembley. How much of that history do you get taught by your dads and your granddads in Hungary? Do people still talk about the great time in Hungary and dream of Hungary getting back to that level of being a superpower in football?
Yes, absolutely. People talk about it a lot. Obviously, we call it as a golden team at home, with Puskás and the players around him, because the football hasn't had that much of a success like in the past 15, 20 years than back in the 50s. Football became one of the well, I can say one of the biggest part of people's everyday lives. So they craving for another success. They just want the football national team to get to Euros, get some success, or even do the World Cup. Yes, people talk about it a lot, and then I heard a lot of stories from my granddad, from my uncle, from my dad, but especially with my granddad. They went out to the games, and then they could watch these big players.
And we had a bit of a recent resurgence, and it's kind of timed with your youth, I guess. In Euro 2016, they went to the Euros and did really well, and finished top of their group, and ultimately lost to a brilliant Belgium team. I mean, was that a big inspiration for you? 4 years ago, you were what, 15, and it was, I guess, that was before you came to the UK. Was that a big inspiration for you, seeing the team do well?
Yes, it was a huge inspiration for myself, because when I was 14, that was a time when I had to choose after the 8th grade to go to the Eto's Academy, because they've got an own college as well. So it's basically the academy trainings building around the school schedule. So you've got like a few lessons in the morning, and then you go out to train, lunch, get changed, get back to the school, have 3 or 4 more lessons, and then after that you go outside to train again at 4 o'clock. So it's a pretty good schedule, and then it's really well built up. So I chose to go Eto Academy, which now I can see it was a really good choice, because it helped me a lot in my football career. It literally just allowed me to miss out from school sometimes because of games, because of national team, and obviously we had to learn a lot. So I like taking responsibility on my own studies as well, which I do now as well, doing courses. So I'm trying to keep up with it, thinking about after football life as well. But yeah, I choose Eto Academy, and I went there. And the year after the national team getting to the Euros, they put a really good performance down, and the whole country was just, get together as one crowd, and we all just cheering and all supported them. And it gave me good inspiration, because I realised like football is what I really want to do. I always wanted to do football, but like it was a bigger dream than an actual target in my whole life.
Yeah.
But then at that point, I just told myself like, yeah, I want to be a footballer. I want to be the next goalkeeper, coming through the ranks and then play for the national team, and then and I want to get to the Euros or even to the World Cup with the national team.
From watching you seem like you're very comfortable with your feet, and I know you said you signed at the age of 8 for your club. Did you ever play outfield, or was it goalkeeping straight away from as early as you can remember?
Well, for the first, when I started playing football, I was like 3-4 years old. It was the nursery schools football tournaments, the like local like schools, and then in the first few grades before I went to Eto, the small little pitches. There's not even a goalkeeper, because you play football for the smallest goal. But I've always been a centre back. So I was always the last member of the team, and got a few like diplomas as well. Like they got like awards for the little guys for like the best defender, the best midfielder, the best striker, top goal scorer and stuff. And then a few times I could collect the best defender. So I was always the last member of the team. And then when I get to the academy, I played like as a goalkeeper. We did a lot of possession games, especially when a young age, and then we all had to practice a lot of passing, a lot of dribbling as well with the team. And then as we just stepped up in the ranks, and then we got older, we had more tactical understanding and started seeing a lot more from football, more than just the game. And we had to do even more possession with the game. Sometimes being like a midfielder, just to be in the middle, scanning around the pitch, seeing what's going on, and then it just helps our brain to quicken up and then get used to the tempo as well, which helps as a goalkeeper because, we have to think quite fast, because let's say against a high pressing team, you only got 2 seconds maximum receiving the ball, and then just like make a pass. So it was really beneficial.
And in terms of that progress that you made at Győri, and I think I've got this the right way round. This is before you came to England to trial at some English clubs. You were playing presumably for the under-18s, and was there a time when the first team manager noticed you and said, "We need you to play for the first team"? Because I see you've played a few first team games at a very young age in Győri. Fill us in on the background, because all we have is 4 games listed on Wikipedia. I'd love to know the story behind that.
Yes, I could play. I was lucky enough to play 3 games for the first team of ETO. Well, to be honest, my biggest ever dream was playing for ETO's first team, because the whole family is ETO supporter. So we used to go out to the games as like a whole family, with my uncle, my granddad, my dad, my sister, my mum. Even they just coming and watching the games as well with us. And we were all there cheering, all the neighbours from the little village where I'm from the age when I was under 15. That was the first time when ETO's first team invited me for the training session. Wow. Just a couple of times for the afternoon technical sessions, or sometimes even in the mornings. That's when I felt the biggest improvement in my football career as a player, like technically, because I could say like, oh yeah, I've got something which is enough somewhere to make my way to the first team, maybe get to the squad, get into the being like a second choice keeper in a few years' time. I think towards the end of the under-16 season, I got invited to the first team as so I had to move to their changing room. I was the first as like a full-time football player for the first team. That's when I got my first professional contract as well at home. And since I was under 17, I trained with the first team every day, twice a day. And then in 2018, just before I came to England, I could make my debut, and all those 3 games, because they were against Sopron, Mosonmagyaróvár, and Győri, they're all in the same area. So it's basically, let's say Aston Villa would play against Wolverhampton, and then West Brom and Birmingham City. So these 3 games were like that kind of games.
Are they league games, packed stadiums?
Yes. Well, I can't say it was packed stadium because, unfortunately, because of the unsuccessful past of the Hungarian football, a lot of people, a lot of fans were like, just, I'm not fancy going out to the games. I just don't want to watch it. So it's not too many people going out. But those 3 games were the most viewed games in the whole season, because, it's literally like in the 20 miles of area of Győri, or both 3 teams. So it was big games.
How did it come about? Was there an injury to the first team goalkeeper?
Not really, to be fair. I was injured for half a year before I made my debut for first team. So I was training them, and the first team manager told me he wanted me to make my debut in January, and that was in September 2017. Unfortunately, I got injured with my knee, got a torn ligament, and it literally broke my cartilage as well. So I needed an operation on it. I was out for half a year, but the recovery was quite successful. So in March, I just got back with the under-19s, played 2 or 3 games with them. So after 4 weeks of training, and then obviously I was involved with the first team as well as a second choice keeper. So I was on the bench. The next day I played for the 19s, and after that in May, the first team manager told me in the early the week when we started doing the training on Monday or Tuesday, you're going to play us on Sunday, so get ready. And I was like, wow, what's going on there?
You're 17 at this point?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
I mean, there's real comparisons to what happened at Villa Park recently. How nervous were you, and how did you cope with those nerves?
Well, when I made my debut for ETO, I think I had the same nerves what I did now, but at the time I wasn't as educated as I am now, mentally wise, and how to cope with pressure, how to deal with it, and I didn't know myself that well. So I didn't know what to do. I tried to talk to my teammates, but it wasn't the same as wasn't the same support as what I got from before the Liverpool game. I felt more comfortable going out to the pitch against Liverpool and playing because I knew myself. I knew how to relieve the pressure, how to turn the nerves into a source of energy. So like how to set my mind positive and being excited about the game, look forward to the game instead of being nervous or what if. So it helped a lot before the Liverpool game.
Jump as well from making your debut as a 17-year-old, going from youth football to senior football. How did you, especially as a goalkeeper, how did you find the difference in terms of going from a youth change room to a first team change room? And also how were your teammates around having a young goalkeeper behind them?
Well, settling into Eto's first team went quite well because they really liked the young footballers coming through the ranks, especially if they had the work ethic. So if they see on us that we're doing our jobs properly. One of my jobs were cleaning the balls after the sessions and pumping them up before and making sure that we got 30 balls in total. So that was my job really. And I did it all the times. Sometimes I had to clean their boots as well because, I mean, not just me, because it was 5 or 6 of us as the youngsters. So we all had to do it. It was quite fun at the time.
It's a good way for young players to engage with first team players and build relationships with first team players. I think, I think doing the jobs, but going back to you, it seems like you set yourself high standards off the pitch, and you had these behaviours, and we're really big on people behaving right off the pitch, being professional, having good standards in everything they do. And is that a big reason you think why teammates probably took to you more than they would if you didn't do that?
To be fair, in Eto, I think it was a bit more about respecting the older guys, and you're the youngster stepping in, and you have to show respect. You have to show commitment to the team as well. But to be fair, since a really young age, the principal, the head teacher at my school, and my coaches also taught me I have to have high standards off the pitch as well, and have to be organised off the pitch, and because that will transfer into the pitch, even if it's just studying, even if it's just let's say I want to clean my room. I kind of had to be tidy, and then I had to learn for myself how to transfer it into the game, because what I see on myself, if I'm right mentally, if I'm organised mentally, and my head's right, my head's clean, and I just see everything sorted in front of myself. If I go up on the pitch, I just feel so relieved, and then I just go and then I've just got a feeling like, oh yeah, it's a good day, it's going to be a good session, it's going to be a good game.
Even more for a goalkeeper, because so much of your game is about concentration. You could be away from the ball for 10 minutes, and any little thing that you can do to gain an advantage to keep yourself focused and keep yourself concentrated, it does sound like it would be something that would transfer from your personal life, your studying, and something you would be able to help you with on the pitch. So yeah, it sounds like you had a good head on your shoulders from a very young age.
You spoke about off the pitch, and I know it is something I've read one of the Hungarian interviews that I translated when you spoke about your life off the pitch. So you're still studying now. I mean, you're 19. You don't have to study, but you choose to. I mean, tell us a little bit about what you're studying and why that's important to you.
Yes, when I got to college first, I always tried to achieve the highest levels in my study, and I was always going for the highest marks I can get and highest percentages. Doesn't always work out as you want it, especially next to football. When you're stepping up the ranks and it gets higher tempo, it gets harder. The pressure comes in. I always tried to put enough work into the study as well. It was just general studies for my 5 years I spent in Eto's academy. It's like a final exam in Hungary. It covers all the 5 years of studies that you learned in one exam. So it's equals to like A levels and GCSEs over here, basically. And I always learned English as well. I think it was 5 years before I came to England in a high level in my school. So we prepared for the exams earlier. And I always loved IT studies as well. I did my final exam from IT 2 years before I was actually due to do it, because I really loved it. I really loved studying it. And then I think I put the most effort into English, IT, and Hungarian literature, because that's the 3 subjects I love the most. And now as I graduated from college, I choose to stay in the IT path, because I quite love doing programming, and I'm into cryptography as well, sort of cybersecurity. So at the moment I'm doing cybersecurity course, It's just a kind of introduction. It's provided by IBM. Quite a long one, quite detailed, but it's kind of like a prevention and understanding what threats you have to face in the cyber world. But after that, I really want to do a programming course as well, which will take me another 5 or 6 months to do just the basic one. It's going to be either Java or Python language.
How do you find, because a lot of pushback from players is that a lot of young players, and I was one of them when I was your age, and I was thinking, I just want to focus on football, and anything else is going to be a distraction. And I think in England particularly, we've had that mentality with our football for a number of years now, but it is changing. Do you see it as something that is it something that you enjoy that you can take your mind off football, or it's a distraction, or it's something that occupies your time instead of, you're doing something productive rather than watching Netflix or playing PlayStation?
Yes, absolutely. I always found improving myself in other areas of the life and building new life skills is a really good spending of time, because it actually helps your brain keep working throughout the day as well, and improving your brain capacity as well. And to be fair, I haven't even got a console for myself, so I'm not playing PlayStation at all. I'd rather just sit down and do my courses, do programming or whatever. For me, that's a good time to spend and then just relax off the football, because sometimes you need a little bit of time off football as well, to not even think about it, to not get too much of it. I made a couple of mistakes through my career when I was thinking too much about football, thinking too much of what happened on the pitch, how to change it, how should I do things, or how can I learn new skills like really fast. I just wanted to be better. But it actually caused me distraction itself, because I was thinking on it too much. I put too much pressure on myself, and it just ended up being a really bad decision. Thinking about it too much, really all day, and it affected my sleep as well. So it's just not a good thing. So when I'm at home, I try to spend time with my little family and take our doggy for a walk. Watching Netflix is it's also an option, obviously, because you're just chilling out, totally relaxing. Just you don't have to do anything at all.
Well, it's a real credit to you, Ákos, I'll tell you that. Let's continue on the studying theme, but moving back in time a little bit. You talked about learning English from a young age. So you were picking up English at age 11, 12, 13. At that time, you'd been dreaming about being a football player and dreaming about coming to the English Premier League. So presumably you worked hard at your English because you thought one day I'm going to live there, I'm going to play football there, which has ended up happening. Talk to us about when you found out that there were some English clubs interested in signing you. I'm really interested to hear that we've seen some nice pictures of you in a Liverpool kit. The team that you played against not long ago had a little look at you. So talk us through that stage of your life and how that went.
I was lucky to get the call-ups from an under-15 age to the national team, and we played against Slovakia. I got 45 minutes, and that's when the scouts from England actually started contacting my agent about coming to England, sort the trials out for me, really. And the first club was inquired about me was Liverpool, and then we got the phone call from Aston Villa as well, and just having the trials, and Aston was just being at the time it being a better option because they didn't have that many goalkeepers, and they just saw bigger play time over here, because the biggest part of a football player, how you can improve yourself, is playing games, as many games as you can. We had a lot of discussion about it with my dad and my agent as well, and we all just see it's not like choosing the easier way, it's just like giving myself the best shot. And that's why we all saw that we would be a better option.
In terms of coming over to England, I'm really interested in this. Fraser and I, we speak to a lot of the lads on the podcast, and there's a big theme of family sacrifice. We spoke to two Spanish boys that went to Liverpool, and you as a Hungarian lad, presumably mum and dad were fully supportive of it. Did they come over with you for the trials? How much time have they spent over in England with you, and what did they have to give up to help you live your dream?
Yes, when I had the trials in England, my dad was the one who was flying over with me, because it was only one parent or guardian was allowed to come out with me. But when we come to the point when we actually signed the contract and made the deal, that's when the whole family could come over, and my mum and my sister could have a look at the academy as well, all the facilities, the pitches, and they could meet a couple of staff members as well. So they could make sure that I'm in a good place, and they also see the host family where I lived for 2 years. And this part is harder for the mums always, because the one thing they see in front of their eyes is to make sure that that kid is in the right place, he's safe, he's going to be happy. Or she was the one really wanted to make sure that I'm in a good host family, and then did a good relationship throughout the years, and then me personally, I still keep in touch with them because they helped me a lot in integrating into the English life as a young kid. It was really important, especially the first year, because that's when you just literally suddenly jump into a new country, new culture, new club, new everyone, and you only can rely on your host family really, because they're there physically. So I mean, I could call my parents with all the issues I got in the work, but if I needed some actual support from somebody, that was the host family I could get it from. Obviously from the club as well, but away from the club, away from the time I spent in.
How difficult was it when you first came over? Was there an adjustment period where it was quite difficult for you?
Yes, it was. The first 2 months, I would say, it was really difficult to settle in, get used to the new things, new environment, new people, build relationship with them. And as a new guy, you just jump in a team, and then you always, not like getting the stick, but like everyone having better with you. And as a Hungarian, it was quite hard to understand what the English humor looks like. So most of the time, I was like, wow, I just felt offended. But actually realized, and then the guys taught me, no, it's not an offense. Don't get me wrong, it's just like a joke, So it was a bit hard, yeah.
Did you have any difficult moments settling on the pitch, or was that an easier process? Was it a big difference in terms of your new teammates and the style of football and that kind of thing?
Yeah, no, these things off the pitch and on the pitch is just added up. Both sides made it really difficult to settle in and get used to the things, because the English football has a lot higher tempo than the Hungarian one. The style of football is also different. So when I first came, I needed at least half a year to get used to the tempo, get my fitness level up what it has to be. Technically, I was off it a bit as well, to be honest. So we had to work a lot on it. And the first when I came here, in the first few months, or the first year really, I was really impatient with myself. That's when I put. That's one of the mistakes I told you about before, like putting too much pressure onto myself, because I was just like, why is it not working? Why can I not do it? So I would just keep asking myself these questions, but I just really had to practice it. And then with time, obviously, in a couple of months' time, these technical elements we worked on, it just worked out well. And then I just find my own way how to transfer it to the games, or how to do it every day.
Is it difficult for you to get your head around when you've come from Eto, where you've been the rising star, everyone's speaking about you, you could be you played for Hungary, you're the best player in your country, and then you turn up at an academy where they can take players from across the world. So obviously most of your teammates are from England, but Aston Villa can take players from places like Hungary, and all of a sudden you're not the superstar anymore. And was that difficult to come to terms with?
Yes, when I was young, I didn't understand these things. So really hard time from mentally as well. So it dropped my confidence level a bit as well, which was absolutely beneficial for me, because I could picture myself even more where I belong in the football world, where I belong in England, inside the academy. And then and I had to realize that, yes, I'm literally in step 0, and I have to work my way up to, and then build my own name inside the academy as well, to show them what I got, and then show how can I improve, and then just take the things on board. You did establish yourself, and at the age of 19, you're the regular under-23s goalkeeper. Villa have got 4 goalkeepers. One, an England international, has got a long-term injury. So then you've got Martinez and you've got Jed Steer. You're going about your business. You're making good progress. And the pandemic hits, and we all know what then happened. The COVID virus ran through the first team environment.
At what stage did you start to realise it might be a possibility that this crazy thing was going to happen, that the under-23 squad was effectively going to play as the first team squad in the FA Cup?
Well, we didn't have a clue about it, honestly, because we didn't have the rumours. The club didn't tell it to anyone that they had positive cases on Tuesday. On Thursday afternoon when we went in, that's when we got told that we're possibly going to play against Liverpool on Friday, literally like in the daytime. So we had to do the tests, and then as soon as we got the tests back, everyone just started really buzzing before the tests were even being made. But like after we got the results back, like it's all negative, and then everyone's just got like, oh, so excited, what's happening? It's really going on, like it's going to happen, going to make our debut. We really had to keep it as a secret, obviously, so we wasn't even allowed to tell our parents. So
when did your parents find out? On the day of the game, or?
Yeah, like a couple of hours before the game, really.
Wow. And are they able to view English games in Hungary? Were they able to watch you play?
Yes, there is one channel broadcasting Premier League games, so and FA Cup, obviously, so all the games in England, so they could watch it. Yeah.
Did you have a physical reaction? I'm trying to put myself. It's difficult for me as an amateur footballer to put myself in your position. Fraser will understand it much better than me, but I can imagine receiving that news and actually getting a physical response. The flutters in your heart, your body getting hot. Did you feel that kind of physical reaction to that news when it became real?
Yes, absolutely. I felt shattered straight after. So as soon as we got told, and I realised I'm not going to play against Liverpool, we just started walking out to the pitches, and I felt like I'm going to be sick. Just my stomach wasn't right, and then I had a sudden drop in my energy level. It's like started being like really hungry, and then my legs were shaking. My head just wasn't there at all. It was really hard to get myself back into the training and do that session we had to do, because it was just too much at the time. And then it's first experience, like making your debut for Aston Villa in the FA Cup, especially against Liverpool, and it's just all came together, and then your body is just literally, I'm not saying give up functioning properly, but I felt myself like a zombie walking out to the pitch, honestly.
And what was the reaction with when you go back in the changing room after I bet it was a long wait, first of all, for that result to come in from your COVID test. I bet that was a nervous time. What was the reaction? What was the reaction like when all of you go in the change room and you actually realise like this group is going to play against Liverpool?
Well, when we get to the stadium changing room, it was quite quiet. Like everyone was a bit like, oh, what's happening like now? Like been in the first team changing room of Aston Villa, like sitting there. The game's 2 hours away, doing the analysis session. It's just everyone was just like thinking about the game.
One thing I'm quite interested in is what kind of team did you want Liverpool to put out? And when you got the team sheet from Liverpool, what was your reaction and what was your teammates' reaction?
When I first got told that we might play against Liverpool, and I talked to my girlfriend as well after the game, that I expected Liverpool to come with a strong team. I thought the real challenge would be if they expected Villa, like the full first team playing against them, make the preparations as like a full squad. They want to come here and win the game. And I just wanted them not to change the squad, because the real challenge was really playing against the big names like Salah and Mané.
And when you saw that team sheet, how did that feel?
It felt amazing. Honestly, when I saw the team sheet first, it was after the warm up. I saw the players warming up, but like when you actually see the team sheet, like who's going to line up against you, it's like oh wow, couldn't believe it really.
Did you hope to see on that team sheet the name Alisson Becker opposite you? And respectfully to Queven Keller, who's a talented young goalie, but did you want to see Alisson's name opposite yours?
Yes, absolutely. 100% I wanted to, yeah.
I was going to say before about the team sheet, it's almost a case of, I was lucky enough to play against Leicester and Man City in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. And you want the big names there, because that almost takes the pressure off you a little bit. I think if Liverpool come with an under-23 team or have made loads and loads of changes, there'd still be a little bit of pressure on you guys. But when they go full strength, it's almost as if we know we're playing against a better team, but there's no one expects us to get anything out of this. So anything we do get is an absolute bonus. And I'm interested to know, after that team sheet had come out, what was the manager's team talk before the game? And did he want you to enjoy it? but he obviously also wanted you to compete and do yourself justice.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone just wanted us to go out on the pitch and just do our best, enjoy the game. You know, trying to make it as hard for Liverpool as you can to get to the goal. Obviously, tactically, they wanted us to be really narrow, and they wanted us to be a good teammate as well. So like help each other out on the pitch, because we all know that the intensity Liverpool's going to have, it's just a much higher level than what we were used to. Especially a couple of lads had the Christmas break and only just a couple of training sessions before the game, so we knew that we're going to get tired quite. I'm not saying quite quickly, but like, you know, it's going to be hard for everyone being organised and putting down maximum performance physical side and from mental side as well. So being focused on it all the time. So the communication was really good from the team. So we were just helping each other out, and then and everyone was doing 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, because even though you're in the right position, you're doing your job, but you have to help out 1 or 2 players around you to make sure that they got their job done right, and then everyone was just spot on. Yeah, and we also had Dean Smith coming up on video chat, and he talked to us before the game and wished us good luck as well. That was a big push for everyone, I think. And then he also said he just believes in the team. He believed in us, and he also wanted us to go outside and enjoy the game.
Before the game, a lot of the players were quite vocal on social media, wishing you the best, and I wondered how much influence they had before you went into that game.
I had a couple of texts from, Emmy and Tom as well texted me both, and I talked to my goalkeeper coaches as well about the game before the game on Friday earlier today. They all told me that I can't be in a better position to play a game like this, because during the Christmas break I was in with the first team most of the days doing the trainings. I could do my dream program as well, so I found myself in a really good form as well. But then I didn't really go up on social media on Friday at all. I just didn't want to think about anything else apart from the game. I just wanted to be everything to like spot on, and then I was just calculating the time, like, oh yeah, I have to eat this, I have to eat that in this time, that time, you know, what to eat, how would it look like. So yeah, I was really nervous about it.
I'm guessing one of the instructions in the pre-match team talk would have been, let's try and keep it tight and frustrate them for the first 5 or 10 minutes. So as a goalkeeper, how did it feel initially when they go 1-0 up after 3 or 4 minutes? And did you find yourself fearing the worst, or were you able to put that past you quite quickly and move on with the game?
Honestly, it made me angry, because I honestly didn't expect them scoring after 4 minutes. It just got me to another point of you know, focusing and just being in the game. So it gave me an extra push, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm trying to do my best, but I have to do even more to being effective around the goal, being hard to beat.
Do you remember a certain point, that was it a catch or a save, that you started to get a bit of belief in the way that the team played, that you felt you could actually give these a proper game?
From my point of view, it was the point when we first conceded the goal. That was when I felt more confidence building up within the team as well. There were a couple of occasions in the first and the second half as well when we just put the ball down, played out to centre backs, and then we just started playing around, and then we could get quite a bit of possessions as well. And the lads were playing really, really well. It was really impressive watching them just you know, playing around and then having possession of the ball, making, like, you know, playing through the middle, out wide, back in. Our goal actually came from that as well. So we put the ball down, and then centre backs, midfielders were playing around a bit, and then I got the ball back and played out to Callum Roy. So I left back, and then he could slide Louis Berry in, and that's how we get to their goal.
And he's got around it, and what about this? Louis Berry, the 17-year-old, levels things up at 1-1.
So obviously later on in the game, there was, well, let's have a look. This happened.
Curtis Jones, Fabinho, really good save, and then the woodwork. Ákos Onódi did really well here to denied Fabinho a first goal of the season. It actually came off the hands of the goalkeeper there, didn't it?
You heard the commentator say there, the second shot hit the post. It obviously didn't, and we see that on the replays. I mean, were you aware at the time you just made an incredible double save in that game? And did you feel exhilarated? Did it help your concentration? Did it hinder your concentration?
Yes, it helped me along the way, absolutely. And I was really mad when the second shot actually went through my hands, because after the first save, I tried to make a block, and then Mané had a hit on the shot, tried to put it in as a second, and it hit my left arm, but I thought it went in, because we always got taught from our goalkeeper coaches that we have to, if you get beat to the corners as an incredible finish, you can't really do much about it. But if you get beat through you, that's the issue. So I felt I got beat through me. I was about to hit the post because I was so angry, like, oh no, I made a mistake. And it's just literally, I turned myself, and then I was hitting the post and I seen the ball going out towards the corner flag. I was like, oh wow, what's going on? I mean, I didn't realize at the time, because I had to get back on the ball, and then I had to focus on the defenders. But after the game, when I called my parents and I called my girlfriend, and it's just, they always just say to me like, oh, the double save, and I was like, yeah, oh my god, like, like when I get like too excited. So like in the game, I tried not to get carried away with it, because that would have had a bad impact on my performance. But like after the game, I was just like, oh, like, just what happened? Like, just keep asking me like, what happened? Can't believe it.
You mentioned that phrase, getting carried away. Fraser and I talk a lot to lads about not getting carried away, and obviously you're a really well-rounded lad and you'll try not to, but presumably you allowed yourself a few little moments. So you said you didn't really check social media in the lead up. You must have got your phone out after the game, and you must have enjoyed all the lovely comments that you were getting from friends, family, and also people you never met before.
Yes, I had a lot of adrenaline in my body. I mean, the night before the game, I couldn't sleep. Had a really bad sleep. I was up late, so I tried to get a nap in before the game. And after the game, I was up until 4:30 in the morning. I mean, I tried to sleep. I tried to get to sleep around like midnight, but I just couldn't. And I was just scrolling social media and looking at all the comments, and then it felt incredible. Like seeing actually made the people feel like, when we played, and seeing a lot of people enjoying watching the game, and getting comments from a lot of people, like, let's say, supporting the other clubs and praising our team. And I'm not just talking about myself, everyone involved, from the staff members up to everyone in the squad. And it just felt amazing, like seeing how people reacted to it.
Excitement that you got from that, the feeling that you got of playing not just men's football, but football against world-class players. I doubt it's changed your mindset, but has it made you have that little hankering about, okay, I'm not sure how much longer I want to be Aston Villa under 23's goalkeeper. I want to get in the first team, or I want to think about a loan move, because your captain that night has now gone on loan to the National League in Weymouth. Are you thinking about a loan, or what are the next steps for you?
Well, the long-term goal is absolutely getting to the first team. But at the moment, I mean, it was a good experience, and as a team, we could put down a really good performance. But the whole thing doesn't mean that you actually a better player because of it. So it's still a long way to go, and there's a ton of things that I personally have to improve on, especially the decision making and dominating coming out of crosses. So there are a couple of areas I have to improve on. So our main target at the moment is to go out on loan.
From my experience with goalkeepers and going on loan, it's almost a different move for a goalkeeper in terms of the level that they go to. If I look back at, I've been fortunate enough to have some incredible goalkeepers come on loan to teams that I've played for. I've had Wojciech Szczesny, who's now at Juventus and had to drop down to Brentford on loan. Carl Darlow at Newcastle came to Newport on loan. And then just in and around League Two was Jordan Pickford. You had Aaron Ramsdale, Dean Henderson was at Grimsby. So these are all like top international Premier League goalkeepers now. and they had to drop down to to non-league to League Two, and it's sort of a different experience because not a lot of managers or coaches will want to take a chance on a 19-year-old goalkeeper who's quite inexperienced. So what are your thoughts on the level that you'll go to, or does that even bother you? Is it more of a case of getting some experience no matter where it is?
The level itself, I mean, we just don't want to go too high. We don't want to looking for clubs, let's say at like League Two or National League, because especially as a first loan move and as a goalkeeper being inexperienced, doesn't matter what level I go to, it always going to be a step up for me, because there are a lot of things. Because you think just if you think about it, it's still men's football. Playing men's football as an under 19, as like an under 23, that will help you mentally, especially being around that environment and knowing what does it mean winning the game, how to make decisions based on how does the game look like in front of you, or what happened in the past couple of minutes. You have to go long, or you have to relieve pressure, get hold of it, slow the game down. So it teaches you a lot of things as well, and you can improve on technical things as well, as I just mentioned. Coming out for crosses and dominating, and utilize the physical side of our body.
And some of those goalkeepers that I mentioned, if you look back and you speak to them now, some of their best experiences or worst experiences have actually become key moments in their career. So they've gone on loan to non-league, to really low, like to non-league, to League Two, those kind of levels. And they've got sent off, they've made mistakes, they've been shouted at. Then on the other hand, they've won 3 points, they've won promotions, they got relegated. And all these different experiences that, even if you do get sent off on loan or you make a mistake, it's all things that are part of your development. And the more of these experiences that you can gather at a young age, the better it is, because as a 19-year-old goalkeeper, it's such a great position to be in, because you could go and play till you're 38, 39, 40, and you've got a huge career. So there isn't that rush to get games in at a high level. It's just about experiencing different things, and for you especially, experiencing what the English game is and how physical it can be.
Absolutely. If you go lower in the levels, there are the teams are still want to play in football. So it's not like the stereotype what I heard when I was like, let's say 12 years old, 13 years old, that English football is all about putting the ball down and then just striking 60, 70 yards up, and then everyone's just fighting, scrapping, everyone's bleeding, breaking the bones and stuff. So now it's just not about that really. And yeah, I agree with what you just said, with being like these are the moments are going to be the best experiences for you. That's what I'm really looking forward to. Sort of a long move out for me.
I think for a 19-year-old, I don't think I've spoken to a more articulate 19-year-old footballer that knows himself, that knows his strengths, knows his weaknesses, is rounded off the pitch, is a model professional, and at the age of 19, you speak like a really senior goalkeeper. So having that as a head start, and having that as part of your personality as well as your player, me and Matt are going to be we're going to be rooting for you, and we've got no doubt you'll have a top career, because honestly, if you keep on the way you are, and you understand your body, you understand your weaknesses, your strengths, and you know what to improve on, plus you've got a really balanced life off the pitch, you've got everything set up for success. So me and Matt will be rooting for you.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. It's really nice to hear from you guys. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, Ákos. And also, the other credit I'll say is in your balancedness is the way that when we speak to you, you sound half Hungarian and half Brummie. It's a beautiful accent you've got there, mate.
Thank you. It's quite weird. I just can't decide what kind of accent I got. I think it's kind of like an international, but in some words I got the Brummie, so it's just mixed up in.
Well, so I say thank you. I say Kusanum. Have I got that right, Ákos?
Kusanum. Yes, that was it.
Tonight, He lines up in goal as a 19-year-old for Aston Villa. Ákos Onódi. What a night for him.
The goalkeeper did very well there.
Onódi, yeah, fantastic save down to his left. Really good reflexes. To his confidence, the world of good that.
I think he wants to take it himself, and again, the goalkeeper is down there quickly.
Daunting, isn't it, when he runs at people? But look at the keeper, he gets down again. Reflex save.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football Journeys, and thank you to all those who supported us. Do come and find us on social media at JourneysPod on both Twitter and Instagram, where we'll be sharing more content. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us on footballjourneys@b5consultancy.com or visit our webpage, b5consultancy.com/footballjourneys. Please do like and subscribe. If you feel we deserve a 5-star rating, then please give us one. The more successful this podcast is, the better chance we have of producing more episodes and further series.